All righty, everyone. Welcome to Satsang, everyone. So good to see you here. One second, let me let Faith in. There we go.
So you always start these satsangs, don't you, Michael?
Yeah, but you can.
Okay, I want to.
Go for it.
I just want to share that I had a private session with Michael on Monday, and my mantra that he gave me, if you want to call it that, is to know wholeness is everywhere and everything appears in wholeness. And I've been really practicing that now. I mean, it's easy to practice, especially when I'm feeling yucky or anxiety comes up. I say, whoops, this is appearing in wholeness. And I have had, especially today, I've had a very peaceful day. I used to walk around with headaches, and I know this is really new, it's only 2 days, but it's the truth. Everything appears in wholeness. So it just softens everything when I see that. It doesn't necessarily make it go completely away, but I know that it appears in wholeness. So it's just wonderful to know that. Michael, thank you.
Yeah, no, it's beautiful. And it's not just appearing in wholeness. Actually, it is wholeness. Because there's only wholeness. So everything is wholeness disguised as that.
And I can look at other people, and when they act like I don't want them to, I can say, this is how wholeness shows up.
Yeah, because you're how wholeness is showing up.
Okay.
Right? The me leaves itself out of the equation. No, the message is not that everybody else is wholeness except you. There's only wholeness. That's the message. The seeker is a phantom.
Thank God.
Yeah, it's the illusion of separation. And that seeker, there's no hope for that one. The seeker is hopeless. Because if everything is wholeness, where are you going to seek for wholeness if there's only wholeness? Now, you might sit there like, hi, Faith. Do you mind if we use your example? You can unmute yourself if you'd like.
No, I don't mind you using anything.
You asked a question about when I said on the awakening community, everything was wholeness disguised as that. You asked a good question. You said, well, even pain and restlessness.
Mm.
So what do you think?
Well, I think yes, but I don't know how to deal with the pain when it arrives. I don't know. Yeah. because it sounds so uncomfortable.
Yeah. So the shocker, right, at Satsang, and you've heard me say this before, there is nothing more shocking than the discovery that you're not there. The pain and the anxiety and the discomfort are not appearing to you. That's the illusion. They are appearing. We're not discounting that it appears to be happening, but we're saying it's not happening to a separate, independent you.
Does
Well,
that
that's
refer to
okay, but-
ownership? Is that, are you talking about ownership?
There's no one there to own. There is no owner of anything, and that's called suffering. The me, which doesn't exist, imagine it does exist and that it's an owner and a claimer and a seeker, and all those are false. If it doesn't exist, how can it own anything?
In the, have you ever read the I Am Chronicles, Michael?
I don't think so.
The I Am Chronicle, it's like this series of books. It's basically talking about awareness, and it capitalizes I, obviously, and it capitalizes AM, right? I am, meaning that what I am is awareness. What I am ultimately is the observer, the wholeness. So when you just said not you, what pain arises in is not you. The verbiage gets awkward because it's like, I get that it's not me, the body. Like there's no me, there's no body. It's all sensation, it's all whatever. But isn't the awareness the I am? Isn't the, I'm not making any sense.
Yeah, that's okay. It's, this, I want to take a moment, if I can, and talk about, I posted an audio recording of Tony Parsons giving a talk in Napa Valley, California, the wine country, back in 2004. And it's in the awakening community. And I was very interested in it because it's a very early talk of 2004. And it occurred to me, Tony had said something that is the most radical thing pretty much I've ever heard. And that is, he said that when he first came out with his message about 25 years ago, he looked around and he said there was nothing like it. Now, when I say nothing like it, he's including, because he said this, it's not Buddhism, it's not Vedanta, it's radically different than even those. Why? Because even Buddhism and Vedanta and all the seeking paths, Bashar, who we were talking about earlier, the I Am books, are all starting from a somebody, from a seeker. So in Buddhism, there's all these little kind of progressive path that you can quiet the mind and learn to get rid of your desires, apparently. That's what they say. You just need to cut those desires, naughty, naughty, if you have desires. And same with Vedanta, which I studied for many years. And that's a me working on itself. That's a me trying to get liberated. And what Tony pointed out, which is unbelievable, he said, look, I don't think anybody's ever said what I'm saying. Now, that's, the ultimate in radical. But what he's saying is, I'm saying there's not even a you to become enlightened. There is no you. So there's no one to work on. There never was. And that's why my post yesterday, some of you may have seen this post, there's no one to let go of anything because there's never been anyone to hang on to anything. So you can't let go of guilt. You can't let go of shame. You cannot let go of all these qualities. Why? Because you actually never were able to hold them. There's no you there to hold them. So how are you going to let go of them? This is like TNT. I mean, this is dynamite. This just obliterates this entire notion. It's saying that all there is the beloved. And the beloved is appearing as everything. Every form, every sound, every image.
So when the beloved appears as pain and anxiety, what response could this form have that would settle that down?
Well, okay. Well, what has that form done the last, 5,000 times that happened?
Freaked out.
So, see, this is the part that when I say this is not figure outable, it's that it's not that the me is dissolving, as I said last Satsang, it's that there never was a me. So ergo, you've never done anything. Everything you think you've ever done was the beloved moving through you. And however it turned out is exactly how it turned out. But no one did it. And Diane, when you're done drawing the tears in your eyes, please feel free to share.
I don't actually know what happens then, but it's like an atom bomb goes off inside when I hear something like that, when you hear the truth. It just so resonates, and it's joy. It's not sadness. It's just beautiful. And that's happened many, many times in Satsang, when that energy of the truth just hits. I don't know what it does, whether it's clearing things out still or what, but it's just beautiful. Thank you.
No, thank you, Diane.
I'm going to need tissues anyway.
It's stunning. See, the me ruins the experience of the moment. Why does the me ruin it? Because the me thinks it knows what this is. And so this is boring. Oh, this is just my old apartment. Nothing to see here. This is not exciting. I need to get going on my journey so I can find enlightenment and find, no, this is it. And it's overlooked. So as long as you're identified as the me, this moment will never be enough. Why? Because the me is seeking energy. It can't see this as wholeness, because then the me is out of a job. It's done. It is finished. So to keep the dream going, the dream of separation, it can keep inventing new paths, new, goals to get to, new things. It's endless. And it's all an illusion because you're not doing any of it. So the recommendation here is just to observe. Watch the wind, watch nature, watch the leaves. Stop all the mental activity that you're engaged with and just be present like your life depended on it. It's doing everything, you guys. Every movement, every breath, every hair. What does it say in the Bible? Every jot and tittle? That's what they meant. Not a molecule. It's just the dance. It's the play. And it has no meaning, no purpose. It's not going anywhere. And the me is so serious. It's sort of like when I used to be a magician, and I would kind of run into two kinds of people when I do restaurant magic, like at the Cheesecake Factory. I would walk up to a group of people, and sometimes they were really delighted to see a magician. They were, oh, good, we love magic. And other people were just like, no, go away. We're talking, I'm not interested. And so the me is kind of like that. Like the me is not interested in nature, is not interested in anything else but its own little dream bubble. And that whole dream bubble is illusory. That is only happening between your ears and nowhere else. It's a dream. It's a dream of separation, and it's not true. So we have, right, as Muji says, one planet, but 8 billion different worlds. So it's the one dreaming. Go ahead, Diane.
Can I tell you something interesting without divulging people's names? Because I meet such a lot of people when I have clients. And I had two ladies yesterday who were friends that came to see me one after the other. And they both came in with exactly the opposite things. One was trying to manage her family because her son didn't talk to her daughter and she was really stressed because she's trying to fix it all. And the other woman, who was her best friend, said, my son's arrogant, so I just let him go, do his own thing, and she's disowned him. So it was completely the opposite. It was so hilarious to speak to both of them one after the other. And one of them's giving advice to the other one about don't let your son manipulate you. And it was hilarious.
It is.
Didn't have much advice, but still.
Yeah.
Just so opposite.
And what's interesting about that, you guys, is it's the beloved doing both.
Yes. Yeah.
It's crazy. But if you can, like I say, grok this, it's not a mental, you can't figure this out logically because this makes no sense. This is nonsensical. It doesn't make sense. But there can be an internal recognition of the truth. Something in you goes, I don't know how, but yes. I sense the oneness. I sense that this must be all one, even if I can't see it.
For me, I wonder sometimes, how did I ever get to this place that I'm sitting and listening to you? Because I've gone through so many spiritual teachers and teachings and church and you name it. And then somehow nothing in those, I've tried them for a while, but they don't hit the spot. And it just keeps on coming down, down, down until, I suppose it's a bit like shedding something until I land here. And I don't quite know how, but I know that none of the other stuff I've looked at is cutting it somehow. And I can't say that I understand or embrace anything much of what you present, but there's nothing else out there that and I'm 76, there's nothing else out there that's got anything to offer like you have. Somehow you offer me something, I don't know.
Well, no, actually, I would say it's the opposite, dear Faith. This is the only place you're not being offered anything. Everywhere else you go, you're going to get a to-do list.
Well, yeah, true. So, but somehow, but you understand what I mean, like.
Yeah. It's just a grokking. It's a resonance. There's just something about this that something intuitively goes, yeah, can be a resonance.
Yeah.
And it doesn't mean more seeking won't happen, because you know, I did, even though I just mentioned that about Tony and the Buddhism and Vedanta having to, I went through all that. So there can be an appearance of a path, but there can also be a falling away. And I think that's what you're saying, Faith. So it's sort of like going through the closet and looking for, you know, a purple shoe. So you have to pick up all the other shoes and go, nope, nope, nope. And then finally you find the purple one and you go, yes. Now I can be Prince for Halloween. No. So you are doing perfect wherever you are. And I say this every satsang. It's like Daryl Bailey said, no snowflake is doing it wrong. So to think that you're doing it wrong would be like saying a snowflake isn't snowflaking correctly. That's just the mind. That's just story. It's not true. So your path, you are the beloved. See, this is the thing to sort of begin to let it permeate you. You're not who you think you are. You're nobody. Now, if being a nobody sounds wonderful,
Yes.
now most people, that will either make no sense and they'll go running like you guys are crazy, or they'll try and figure out how they're a nobody. And you can't. That's the thing about this, there's no path. It's saying, this is what you've been looking for. It's been right here in front of you the whole time. It's like hitting you in the face, but because you're seeking, you miss it. So you miss this miracle. This is a miracle. This is the miracle. There is no other miracle, and it's exactly as it's unfolding. And no one's doing it.
You know what landed for me was a few weeks ago, Diane played or just mimicked me.
From a rumba class.
Yeah, you know, I heard, you know, and that landed with me. And I just was like, every time I start believing something, it's like, oh, it's about me again. I'm like, I know I'm full of shit.
Yeah.
The me is full of shit. And I'm like, oh, and then the whole thing just kind of dissipates. But every time I get caught up in something, just think of that me thing. And I'm like, that's right. There it goes again. You know, it's just, I'm so full of shit.
Yeah.
I tell my kids that. I'm like, you shouldn't listen to anything I'm saying. I'm so full of shit. And they're like, what?
But I have to say, Joan, I want to go back to Faith's comment, because there was a lot to it. I actually wrote it down. I actually copied it and I wrote you a long answer, remember? And I said, we'll talk about it at Satsang, Faith, because I wanted you to have clarity as much as I can. So notice how the me will carve out exceptions to wholeness is everything. So it'll say, because I have a headache or I have pain in my leg, that wholeness is broken, you see. That's the leap. Because I'm not feeling good, let's say I'm tired. Okay, or what if I'm depressed? I'm depressed, so wholeness clearly is left the building. No, that's the illusion. Wholeness never goes anywhere. There's only wholeness. Remember, wholeness before the thought, wholeness during the thought, wholeness after the thoughts. So the thoughts are changing, but does the changing of the thought, the changing of the feeling, the changing of the pain, the experience, does that affect wholeness? No. If I give Ron $100 and Ron gives me $100, has wholeness been affected? Right? If he gives me 100 or I give him 100, does that change wholeness? No. Wholeness is not changeable. So all that goes on in the play has no effect on wholeness, or it wouldn't be wholeness. If something you or I did could impact, that's the arrogance of the me. Well, I'm not feeling good, so darn, well, I lost the wholeness. And you guys have heard it at Satsang. How many times have people come and said, well, Michael, I used to see what you're talking about. I had it, but I lost it. No, you didn't. It's right here. And it can show up as you feel like you lost it. That's the experience of wholeness in that moment. It doesn't mean anything.
Michael, and I think I talk for Faith maybe as well. Pain, okay, so this is wholeness and it sucks because I'm in pain. And okay, I can see wholeness, but doesn't mean I'm going to be happy, joyous, and free. I'm suffering in pain.
You cannot see wholeness. Ron, see, that's the wrong character coming back in. There is no wrong character. That's the point. So there's just the visceral pain, and I'm not discounting it, Ron. I know it's a lot of pain.
So I'd rather have no wholeness and no pain than wholeness and pain.
Right. So that's the me wanting to negotiate with wholeness.
I get it. So
yeah. So you need the wholeness that doesn't, and this was your thing too, Faith. Where can, the me is saying, where can I find the wholeness that doesn't include pain?
Yeah, I'll take that.
Well, Michael, since I sent you that comment, I think it was since then, I had an experience where I received some bad news. Well, what I consider bad news. And I remembered what Brittany said last time about sort of stepping back and observing what was going on. So I was freaking out. In one sense, I was freaking out, but I tried stepping back. Well, I was somehow aware that I was going berserk and I was freaking out and I was full of stories and it was very unpleasant. But and I was driving the car, yeah, and I'm sort of thinking along the lines of what you teach or what we discuss here. And I thought, well, I'm going to have to be with this horror and this upset. And what I found helpful in the middle of all of that was that I felt my legs on the seat of the car. I felt my body resting on the seat. And somehow that was like a bit of a still point that I found helpful.
Yeah.
While the mind went berserk.
Yeah,
know?
Very good. Yeah, why not, right? Because it got you out of your head.
Yeah.
So like right now, if I tell you to notice your breath, right, tune into your chest going up as if suddenly you're out of your head and you're present with something that's actually here. That's the difference between your mental thoughts and your bodily and the physical environment. This is both real and unreal. But all that thought and all that story is complete illusion. That's just like a fictitious story that your brain is concocting, and it's plastering it over the experience. Your experience is whatever it is. Whatever is going on in the moment, that is what is. But here's the thing, and I would say this to Ron too, it's not personal. And when the me takes it as my pain, right? So there's pain, and then there's my pain. And there is a world of difference between the two.
Yeah.
Reminds me of last week we were talking about awareness versus my awareness.
Yeah.
That actually was very, very helpful. I think that's very profound. If you can look at it as pain and not my pain, I think that's where we go to so quickly when we have pain. And I've been dealing with something the last 10 days, and it's amazing how much you kind of frame it as me. You know, it's happening to me, and I need to deal with this, and I need to work through this. But that was really helpful, just to look at it as pain versus my pain. Take the personal out. So thank you for that.
Thank you, Alan, and thank you for bringing it back up. It's really, guys, it's so true. And as soon as you start to become aware of this little habit of the mind, you'll catch it. For instance, when you go outside and look at the sky, there is a difference between just enjoying the sky and the me goes out and goes, oh, it's my sky. Oh, wait, why is my sky cloudy? Oh, I can't believe there's clouds out in my sky. Do you guys hear the arrogance? The me is total arrogance. Wholeness, I'm looking for the wholeness that doesn't include the stuff I don't like. That's the wholeness the me wants. It wants the special wholeness. And I'm telling you, there's just what is, but it's not happening to anyone or for anyone because there's never been anyone. There is just the beloved animating everything from the spider to your arm, to your eyes blinking, to the thoughts in your head are all being animated for you by the beloved.
And I found that very helpful. My probably limited understanding, but my understanding of that I found very helpful this week when I was speaking with my daughter, and I noticed that it's about my granddaughter, and I noticed that her mother was taking the granddaughter's behavior personally, and it was awful. The granddaughter's getting punished, and the mother doesn't know which way she's going. And look, I don't know if it makes any difference, but I said to her, don't take it personally. The granddaughter's misbehavior is not because of what you do or what you don't do, or she's just doing her thing. And when you take that personal aspect out of it, you can come in with love and compassion. That's what I found anyway. Do you understand what I'm saying there? Yeah.
Well, until this is seen, right, which is very rare, you're running into me's all day long. Now, yeah. They're not really there, but 99.9% of the world population believes they're a separate me. And let me be clear about this. That is the beloved playing all the roles, which is why you can't make the me drop away. Just like a fruit, a piece of fruit, who decides when that fruit is ripe? If you have a pear on a tree, who decides when the pear falls? So that same impersonal energy that knows the perfect time when that pear falls is the same energy that the me, that contracted energy, can dissipate, can drop away, and there's nothing you can do about it because there's no me to do anything. So it's a paradox. This is a paradox. The me's not there, but it feels like it. And what can make that feeling of it being there go away? Nothing. It will go away when it's supposed to go away. Now, does that mean there's nothing to do? I don't say that. I say, because that was my experience, I just kept my eye on this. I didn't care what it took, but I was either going to die, which was going to happen anyway, the body was going to die, or I was going to see this. But for me, that's all that mattered. So every moment was dedicated to seeing how the beloved was doing everything, and Michael was taking credit for it. And it slowly began to become obvious to me that that was a story. That the me is a story. It's a lifelong story that has just become habitual. And so only you know when the time is right, you're like, you know what? Let me just relax. Can you guys see the hamster wheels that Joanna has on her picture? She's got 2 mice. So I actually sent this to Ron. So the one mouse is just, screaming on that hamster wheel in circles. And the other mouse is sitting on the edge, not moving, going, I've had an epiphany. So, yeah, go ahead, Ron.
I just had an epiphany. That there is significant pain.
Yeah.
Period. And there's nothing, since there's no I, there's nothing I can do about it. I mean, there are practical things that just seem to happen and you ask your doctor for this or that. But coming to satsang is not going to make my pain go away. Adding story to it and future tripping and will it go away, when, why me, all that stuff is happening, but it won't make the pain go away. Coming to satsang will not make the pain go away. And so there's a base level of suffering that's happening. And whatever my mind or me comes in is only going to add to that. So there just is pain, and anything else is just adding other stuff onto it. There's no possibility to take it away. There's only many opportunities to add onto it.
Yeah, in your body, and this is for everybody, right? When this body gets sick or if something's wrong or I get a cut, you find the body moving to the bathroom, to the medicine cabinet and getting a Band-Aid and taking care of it. But that isn't you doing it. That's the illusion. We think it's us. We think, but no, it's the beloved that's seeing. It's the beloved that's this whole appearance. So it's the beloved that's seeing that, and the beloved that's putting the Band-Aid on there. And so you're right, Ron, the suffering will come in is if you have a me there going, when's this going to stop? When's this going to, I've been through X, Y, and Z. Just deal, and I would say this for all of us, just stay with the moment. Don't go to the future, when will this not be here? Because you don't know. Right now it is. And notice that pain fluctuates, because I've noticed that. When I get pain now, I realize it's an opportunity. Like when I'm in pain or if I stub my toe or I'm like, okay, let me get present. I want to see what's going on with that bugger. How does it, right? What's really there? And by you getting present with the pain, it changes the quality. Your relationship to the pain gets very intimate, and it reduces. It's like, when we push it away, what we resist persists. But by you coming into the pain and saying, I don't know, it just can't really explain it.
I brought this up before. Dr. Shauna Shapiro, I've done some retreats with her. She had a cool metaphor to pick up from where Ron was talking, which is, she would say that if you have like a 5 out of 10 pain, she said that your resistance to it, like 0 to 10, if you're a 5 resistant to it, it's like 5 times 25, and that's the suffering. But if your resistance to it is 0, it's 5 times 0 is 0. So the 5 may still be the 5, but there's 0 suffering.
Nice.
So I thought that was like a cool mathematical way of talking about, you use the word resistance, and Ron talked about adding to it. And it's a pretty cool thing, because when you think of just not adding resistance, and that times 0 is 0, then pain is the pain, but theoretically there's no suffering if you don't add to it. Which is what I'm working on too. So this is all very relevant.
Sure.
So I got to apply this to myself as well.
Well, you could if there was a you there to do that.
Right. Back to wholeness, pre, middle, post.
Yeah, I'm going to sound like a broken record. And I realize, and I have to tell you, if you guys go to the Awakening community on Facebook and listen, which I recommend, this early 2004 recording from Tony, he's getting huge laughs from the audience because they hadn't heard some of his outrageous answers. I think today it wouldn't get quite the reaction, but the laughter, it's almost like listening to the Johnny Carson Tonight Show getting a laugh. I mean, it's that boisterous. Because I'll give you an example. So somebody asked a question to Tony and said, well, Rumi talks about, something about, well, you should seek for the beloved. And Tony goes, well, Rumi never existed. And the audience just started laughing because it was like the most craziest thing they'd ever heard. Like it was the last thing they expected him to say. What do you mean Rumi never existed? No, Rumi never existed. No one has ever existed. That's the shocking news. That's why this is radical. Like, it's not a joke. Calling it radical is, that word's used, but this is saying it's all, because that's the non-duality. That's why there's no separation. It's the one, but we can't explain it. So if the mind tries to figure out how one could be doing all this, you'll get nowhere. But you could try. I mean, definitely you should try to see that it's futile, because it's a mystery. This cannot be figured out. You can't figure out the dream from within the dream. But when the me's not there, there's no more questions. That's the peace, because the me's always got questions. Questions, why this, why that, why the other. When there's just peace here, when there's just emptiness, when there's just wholeness, there's just no questions. There's literally just what's happening. Go ahead, Faith.
I was just going to say, it's like it brings me up to a full stop.
Yeah. Well said. Really, that in a way, that's kind of all satsang is. It's just getting everyone out of their heads and their stories long enough to do a full stop. And then to go, well, what if life was doing everything? Like, really consider that. Like I gave that for Alice as a mantra, in a way. I said, everything is wholeness disguised as that. And again, the me is looking for the perfect wholeness that doesn't include the bad stuff. But duality has both the good and the bad. And you wouldn't, there was, do you guys remember me talking about an old Twilight Zone from the TV show, back in the 1950s, there was late 1950s, early 60s, there was an episode of The Twilight Zone about a bank robber that gets shot and killed as he's coming out of a, a store, hardware store, by a police officer, and he gets shot and he dies, and he wakes up, and this great actor named Sebastian Cabot is wearing a white tuxedo, white hair, and he's got like a pad and paper, and he says, "Oh, good morning, sir." And the guy wakes up and, says, "Oh my God, what's going on? Where am I?" He says, "Well, what would you like? Name anything you like, and I'd be happy to get it for you." And so he's like, "What?" He goes, "Yeah, well, how about a house? Okay, this is yours." "Wow, well, how about some dames?" So 3 women come in. He's like, "Oh my God, this is amazing. Well, let's go out gambling." So he decides to go out gambling, and he notices that he keeps winning. He keeps winning. He can't lose. Plays craps, plays roulette. Every time he calls the number, the ball falls right into the number. And he finally says, "Hey, wait a second, what's going on here?" And poof, puff of smoke, and Sebastian Cabot, his kind of, what he thinks is his guardian angel, shows up and says, "What seems to be the problem?" He goes, "Well, I keep winning." He goes, "Well, is there a problem?" He goes, "Yeah, it's no fun." He goes, "Oh, okay, well, what percentage would you like to lose by?" "Well, that's not gambling. Say, what kind of heaven is this?" And Sebastian Cabot said, "Who told you you're in heaven?" See, if you were happy 24/7, you would never know it. It's the dichotomy, because we know pain, because we know suffering, that when we have the good times, we can really appreciate them. Just because we've smelled garbage means when we smell a rose, we can differentiate between the two. Can't have one without the other. No yin without yang.
I still don't like it when you end the sessions with, "I wish you a lot of suffering."
No, the me wouldn't like that.
It has a reaction in my belly.
But I'm doing it playfully, because the idea is to get, it's what Diane and I talk about, is that the suffering was so extreme for us that we just kind of had to let go. I mean, I don't want to speak for Diane, but I just couldn't figure out life. I couldn't get it to work. So I've tried, like everybody, tried to be a good, join the Boy Scouts, pay my taxes, tried to check all the boxes, and none of it made sense to me. I couldn't get, so I said, all right, I give up, I don't know. And that I don't know turned out to be the best thing. Because as soon as you know, you're screwed. Why? Why do I say that? Because nothing here is knowable.
It's arrogance.
I don't know what this is.
When you think you know, it's arrogance.
Yeah, but every me thinks it knows a ton.
Oh, yes.
So Faith touched on something. I've been seeking a long time too, and when I think about it, I probably spent over $50,000 traveling here, there, seeing this one, that one, in different states across the ocean, and it seems like maybe that is inevitable, to come to a point where you seek and seek and seek and seek and still miserable. I guess it doesn't matter if that's common or not. It doesn't have to be. And then it's like I have to forgive myself. But then again, that's not even that. It's just like, that's the beloved that did what it did.
Yeah. Yeah. But it's so funny, because spending time with this insight, this realization, just entertaining it, as Paul Hederman says, Or as I say, just let it absorb into you. I know Jim Newman says the same thing. Just let this message permeate. That's why I put these videos up on YouTube, and I hope that you rewatch them, because there's so much information, and you don't have to be watching the monitor. You could be, you know, preparing something in the kitchen or whatever, but just the radical nature of this message isn't something you're going to hear on the news, you know, on the 6 o'clock news. You know, well, 6 o'clock news and it's still all one. No, we don't hear that. So pretty soon, because right at the beginning, of course, your me is not going to buy it. Well, what do you mean there's no me? What do you mean the beloved does everything? That's a bunch of crap. If I go to the refrigerator, aren't I going to the refrigerator? I don't know. Is that an assumption? Could the me be an assumption that you're a me? I think we lost Alan. Alan, are you in the dark? Pay your electric bill, Alan. Somebody get Alan a candle. By the way, that brings up having a sense of humor. That's the first thing to go when we take ourselves as a me. Do you notice that? It's not funny.
I notice that now when I make a mistake in my Zumba class, I just laugh. Whereas before I took it very personally, like I'm a bad instructor because I forgot something. And now I just laugh. Took myself way too seriously.
Yeah. So that's what I mean about the suffering. The suffering can get so intense that you're forced to let go. It's like getting cornered. Like, in a way, it's like checkmating the me. So you get into a labyrinth and you go running down the maze, and finally you come into a room and you realize there's no way out. So you don't know how to get out of the room. So you're stuck. So you can either flip out and bang the walls and waste all that energy, or you can just sit there and you can just be and go, yeah, I'm not getting out of here at this moment. Let's see what happens. So put this to test. Maybe I'm full of shit. Maybe you are me. Really? Don't just believe this. You got to investigate it. See, maybe you really are me. Maybe there's a little entity inside that body. That's a you. That's pulling strings and pushing buttons. I don't know.
That doesn't appeal to me at all. To think.
I hope I'm being a little facetious here, a little sarcastic. But you really got to look. I mean, I actually did, I don't know, Diane, if you do this, but I used to lay in bed at night and visualize a flashlight inside my body and look for the me, like a little homunculus. You know, a little tiny, a homunculus is like a miniature person that's inside us that we think there's a little Michael like inside, and, no. There's just blood and bones and, all the stuff that's in a body, but there's no me in there.
I think what I've done too is just watch the body move. Like when you're cooking a meal and you're chopping things and then you go to grab something, it's like there's no thought about that at all. The hand just goes and it just moves, and it might move differently to another body, but there's no one doing that.
Well, Diane, you even talked a few satsangs ago about the scientists have done these tests now where the thoughts appear as much as 7 seconds in advance in the brain before we're aware of them.
Yep.
So there goes your freedom, your free will, because your brain's already decided that you're going to chop that carrot exactly the way you're chopping it before you're aware of it. I'm telling you, life gets so much more alive. I can't even begin to express that knowing what anything is kills the magic, kills the aliveness, because the me's taking this as real and only real, right? I'm real, I'm a me, and I must be real. So therefore, this must be real so I can seek salvation, so I can get what I need out of the dream. I need it to be real, but it's not. None of this is real. It's an appearance. It's both real and unreal. And the me doesn't get the memo about it being unreal. And now what do I mean by that? By saying it's real and it's unreal, I mean it's ungraspable. There's nothing to hold on. There's no handles in this moment. So let's pretend for a second that you're having the time of your life. That this is the greatest satsang you've ever been to. And I'm like, yes, let's save it. Let's grab this satsang and put it in our pocket. No, I can't do it. So all experiences are like a river. They're just passing through, and you can't grab the river. You can't. And the me tries, and that's what we do with our memories. That's me going back and visualizing the river, but the river's not there anymore. The river's here now because it never stops. So there's literally nothing to grab a hold of. And it's always been like that.
So you say that's the real. I always get confused when you say the real and the not real. So, and the not real would be the anxiety that may, like in the wholeness, like there's only wholeness. So then depression comes in, and that's the not real, but the wholeness is real. Is that how it works?
No, but I'm glad you're asking, because first of all, that's why we're here. And second of all, if you have this question, I'm sure others do too. So good, thanks for asking. When I say real and unreal, I mean simultaneously.
Oh.
I mean, this moment is both real and unreal. Real is something's definitely happening. So it's real like a dream. So when a dream is happening at night, it definitely feels real. But on the other hand, is anything really happening in a dream? Where's last night's dream right now? Where's 5 minutes ago? See, to me, 5 minutes ago is exactly like last night's dream. That's an assumption if you think you know what happened to 5 minutes ago. I have no idea where that is. So the moment is like this, bam, like a firecracker. This moment is so fast. Things are happening, brand new, just explosion of life. It's happening too quickly for you to ever, and it's never stopped being that explosion of fireworks. So it'd be like trying to figure out a 4th of July fireworks show. You could either enjoy it, which is the recommendation here, to enjoy the light show, or you can sit there and get really like, well, why is that firework orange and not blue? And you can start to judge it, which is what the me does, right? So there's no freedom and there's no joy in judging the fireworks show. But what if you're a little kid? You're 5 years old and you're seeing your first fireworks show ever. I mean, my God. It would be magic.
Now I understand my question. Thank you.
Thank you, Alice. Any other comments or questions before we close out this evening? Thank you everyone so much for coming to Satsang. I so appreciate all of you. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Michael.
Thank you.
Take care, everybody.
Bye, you guys. Have a great evening.
Thank you, Michael.
My
Bye,
pleasure.
everyone.
See you guys.
Thanks.
Bye-bye.
Bye.